I was 28 when my dad handed over our family business to my younger brother. Right in the middle of Christmas dinner, no warning, no lead up. Just stood up, clinked his glass, and said, "I'm proud to announce that Evan will be taking over Warren Equipment Supply starting January. My name's Caleb Warren. I'm from outside Wichita, Kansas. I'd worked at Warren Equipment since I was 17, straight out of high school. While my buddies went off to college, I was hauling pipe and scheduling deliveries, building our client base from the ground up. My dad, Roger Warren, started the company in '87 and always said, "One day, this'll be you boys to run." Turns out he meant boy, singular. Evan, the golden child, sat there with his fake humble smile like he didn't know. But the way he reached for that old company keychain from Dad's pocket said otherwise. He had only been in the business 5 years, never even touched the yard, just sat in a clean office fiddling with spreadsheets and software trials. Meanwhile, I'd handled late-night delivery reroutes, supplier blow-ups, busted forklifts, and every logistics fire that came with running day-to-day ops. The table went quiet for a second, just long enough for me to catch Mom's forced smile and the way Aunt Brenda suddenly got interested in the cranberry sauce. I stared at my plate, heart pounding. Didn't say a word till after dinner. When most of the family had filtered out, I cornered Dad in the garage. "You could have given me a heads up." He looked at me like I was speaking French. "You're good at what you do, Caleb, but you don't think big. Evan's a visionary. You're solid in the trenches. Maybe it's time you found a support role, warehouse lead, logistics manager, something steady." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You're handing the company to someone who's never changed a tire on one of our rigs. And you want me stocking shelves?" He didn't blink. "You'd be happier with less pressure. Evan's better suited for strategy." That was it. No explanation, no room for argument. Just that smug, final tone he used when he thought he was being practical. I walked out that night. No notice, no plan. Just a notebook full of ideas I'd scribbled down over the years and a gut full of quiet rage. 17 years of loyalty, tossed like garbage because I didn't wear dress shoes to work. Quick note: before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? By the time I hit the driveway, I already knew. I wasn't coming back. I spent the next 2 years bouncing from gig to gig, whatever kept the lights on. Delivery routes during the day, handyman work on the weekends, freelance ops consulting when I could find it. Nothing steady, nothing satisfying, just enough to keep gas in the tank and ramen on the stove. I crashed on a buddy's couch for 5 months, then moved into my cousin Troy's garage in Mays. No insulation, no heating. But at least I had a door. Spent my nights out there with a space heater and my old spiral notebook, the one full of ideas I used to sketch during lunch breaks at Warren Supply. Most of it was scribbled diagrams and rough feature lists, but one thing kept pulling me back: a logistics platform I'd mapped out years earlier. Route optimization, parts inventory sync, predictive maintenance alerts, streamlined for mid-sized operations like Dad's. I couldn't shake the idea. Every time I laid in that drafty garage staring at the ceiling, it itched at me. I started building it out using low-code tools. Taught myself what I could, then found a back-end guy on Reddit named Art. Ukrainian, sharp as hell, worked for $20 an hour. I'd wire him money through PayPal, sometimes days late, and he still stuck with me. Everyone I pitched it to said the same thing: too niche. You're not technical enough. Where's your team? One guy even said, "You've got ambition, but no foundation. You're building on sand." Even my own buddies laughed it off. "You, starting a tech company?" Kyle, one of my closest friends, actually laughed in my face. "You can barely run a group chat." Didn't matter, I kept pushing. I maxed out 3 credit cards, one just on cloud hosting and UI templates, bought an old ThinkPad off Craigslist, skipped meals, burned through every favor I had. The night Haul Track officially launched, I had 137.42 in my account. No traction, no buzz, just a live site, an unstable beta, and a screenshot of my logo saved on my phone like a trophy no one wanted. Then I caught a break. Ryan, an old contact who now managed dispatch for a construction supply chain out of Oklahoma, gave me a trial, said they were bleeding cash on fuel costs and figured I couldn't make it worse. I spent the weekend configuring their routes and syncing the inventory module to their clunky system. It was duct taped together, but it worked. 6 months later, Ryan called me up. "You saved us 11% on fuel. My boss thinks I'm a genius. He wants to know what else this thing can do. That call turned into 3 more, then 5. Word started spreading, not viral, just steady. Quiet respect. The kind that matters. I still didn't tell my dad. I didn't even mention the name Hall Track around anyone in my family. Not after what he said when I walked out. Maybe now you'll figure out what you're actually good at. The words stuck like rust under the skin. He thought I'd flake out. End up crawling back in a month. And honestly, there were days I almost did. Days where nothing clicked, where the code broke, where the numbers looked hopeless. But I couldn't let him be right. I wasn't building some billion-dollar dream. I just wanted to prove I had a brain, that I could see patterns, fix inefficiencies, do more than stock shelves and carry boxes. I wanted to build something that worked in the real world, something that didn't need a boardroom or a silver spoon to survive. Hall Track wasn't pretty. It wasn't perfect, but it made sense. And finally, people started listening. 2 years in, Hall Track had 14 paying clients. Nothing flashy, mostly regional contractors, a few distribution yards, a heavy equipment outfit in Missouri. I'd hired 3 full-timers by then. Tasha for client ops, Marcus for sales, and Art, my dev from Reddit, finally came on as lead backend. We were scraping by. Every cent we made got pumped back into the business. I lived in a 1-bedroom above a laundromat in El Dorado, Kansas. You could hear the dryers humming through the walls. My mattress was on the floor. Some nights, I'd fall asleep with spreadsheets open on my laptop and wake up with the charger imprint on my chest. But it was working, slowly, quietly, until it all blew up. One Thursday morning, Tasha came flying into the office, eyes wide, holding her phone. Midtex just pulled their contract, said there was a data breach. I sat up straight. A what? Someone accessed their route history, all of it. Dispatch logs, GPS pings, maintenance flags, everything. I felt the blood drain from my face. That's not possible. Our side's clean. I spent the next 48 hours tearing through the logs with Art. Our system hadn't been touched, but Midtex, they hadn't updated their firewall in 6 years. Their servers were a joke, but it didn't matter. We were the new guy, the easy scapegoat. Midtex threatened legal action, sent us a demand letter. 2 other clients ghosted that week. Another paused billing until things settled. I barely slept, didn't eat, couldn't think straight. All I saw were headlines that hadn't even printed yet. Startup fails after breach. Founder admits fault. System flawed. One night, I just cracked. Sat in my apartment with a bottle of Evan Williams and drank till I blacked out. Did the same thing the next night, and the next. I didn't open my laptop for 6 days. Then my phone rang. It was Sheila Patel, someone I'd met months back at a regional transport conference in Tulsa. We'd had one good conversation over coffee. She ran a mid-sized logistics outfit based in Topeka. Sharp, no nonsense. I hadn't heard from her since. Her voice cut through the fog like a razor. I heard about Midtex. That wasn't on you. I sat up, rubbed my face. Well, they think it was. I don't. I've vetted your system, Caleb. It works. I didn't know what to say. I'd been drowning in silence for days. Then she dropped the hammer. I just got appointed to the State Transportation Council. There's an opening for a digital systems provider. Come pitch next Thursday. My heart kicked. What kind of pitch? Formal, full board, 10 minutes. If they like you, it opens every door you've been banging on. I exhaled, shaky. You really believe in this? I believe in results, and you've got them. She hung up. I sat there in the dark, the bottle still half full next to me, and for the first time in a week, I didn't reach for it. Instead, I pulled my laptop off the floor, fired it up, and opened a blank slide deck. That pitch changed everything. 2 weeks after I presented to the transportation board, I got the call. We landed the state contract. $2.6 million over 18 months. I sat there staring at the PDF, reading it line by line like it might vanish. My hands shook as I signed. Next day, I posted the news on LinkedIn with a simple line. We're just getting started. It exploded. Calls rolled in, job applications, vendor requests, 2 interview offers from tech blogs. First thing I did was move out of the laundromat. Found a decent 2-bedroom near downtown Wichita. Nothing fancy, but the floors didn't shake every time someone ran the dryer. Then I called Art and told him we were scaling. We hired 12 people in 2 months. Sales, support, onboarding, QA. Half of them worked out of my cousin's garage before we got a proper office. The local press did a piece on us. Kansas native secures statewide logistics contract. Evan texted me that night. Didn't know you were still in the game. Congrats. I stared at it for a second. Still in the game. Like I'd been benched. I didn't respond. My dad? Nothing. No text. No call. Not even a passive-aggressive like on the article. Didn't matter. We were cooking. Clients signed on in clusters. One trucking firm told another. A supplier looped us into 3 of their routes. Word spread. Then Bolt Grid came sniffing. They were based out of Denver. Regional competitor, slick branding, big money. Their CTO reached out asking for a friendly conversation. That turned into a Zoom call with 2 VPs and an NDA. The offer came in 2 days later. $9.8 million all cash. Full acquisition. Keep the team, phase out the brand, fold into Bolt Grid's platform. I closed the email and stared at my screen. That was more money than I'd seen in my life. More than my dad probably cleared in 10 years. But it didn't feel right. Not yet. Haul track wasn't done. We'd just gotten the training wheels off. I called Art. What do you think? He didn't even hesitate. Sell now, you're a footnote. Stick it out, we change the game. So, I said no. Word got out. The press caught wind of the offer and the rejection. Suddenly, I was getting tagged in articles. The new face of independent freight tech. Wichita disruptor turns down millions. That's when things got interesting. Warren Supply, my dad's company, started bleeding accounts. Quiet at first. One small builder in Iowa. Then a hardware distributor in Nebraska. Then 3 transport yards in Missouri, all moved to haul track. I didn't poach them. They came on their own, referred by others, looking to cut costs and clean up their systems. Same thing I'd pitched Dad on 10 years ago. Still no word from him. Not even when the client list hit 28. Not even when we broke the $500,000 mark in recurring monthly revenue. I watched his silence like a hawk watches a dying animal, waiting to see if it twitches. But he never called. That was the thing about Roger Warren. He'd rather watch his house burn down than admit he left the door unlocked. I figured if I was running a company that big, I should probably finish the degree I'd left behind a decade ago. So I did it. Night classes, remote modules, summer intensives, the whole grind. Slept 4 hours a night for 2 years straight. Nobody held my hand. I didn't ask for any favors. Graduation day came hot and early, mid-June. Wichita State, big stage, small folding chairs, and a scratchy gown that smelled like bleach and nerves. I showed up with a clean haircut and my name stitched on the inside of the collar like it mattered. I invited everyone. My mom, my brother, aunts, uncles, even my dad. I figured maybe, just maybe, after everything, he'd show a little pride. Maybe not applause, maybe not a speech, but something. I walked across the stage with honors, magna cum laude. They called my name, Caleb Warren, and I shook the dean's hand, dead center stage under bright white lights. The whole arena clapped. Right as I stepped off the stage, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I thought maybe it was him saying congrats, or, well done, son. Some sliver of acknowledgement. I pulled it out. Now that you've got a piece of paper, maybe you'll finally stop pretending to be something you're not. I stopped walking. Crowds moved around me. Kids were high-fiving, parents crying, families waving balloons. I stood still in the middle of it all, like someone had cut the power to my spine, pretending. After everything I built, after the clients, the team, the contracts, the revenue, he still saw it as make-believe, like I was some kid playing with toy trucks in the dirt. Caleb, it was my mom's voice, off to the side. I couldn't even look at her. Then the phone buzzed again. 5 minutes later, not a second more. This time, it was from Cassidy, our PR lead. She didn't waste words. Contract signed. We're officially partnering with the Department of Defense. Congrats, boss. I stared at the screen. $23 million. The biggest deal we'd ever signed. Government partnership. National scope. Multi-year rollout. We'd spent months on that proposal. Compliance checks, security audits, late-night revisions. And now it was done. Locked, sealed. The crowd cheered for someone else walking the stage. I didn't hear who. In 5 minutes, I got punched in the gut and handed a crown. My old man reminded me exactly where I stood with him. The world reminded me exactly where I stood without him. I put the phone in my pocket, walked to the edge of the field, and looked up at the stands. No sign of him, no movement, just rows of faces, none of them his. I exhaled hard and buttoned my gown back up. My name had been called, the deal had been inked, and not one part of it needed his blessing. Not anymore. News of the DoD deal moved fast. First it hit the logistics trades, then the tech blogs picked it up. By the end of the week, Bloomberg ran a piece. Small town founder lands government deal that puts him on the map. There was a photo of me at my desk with a headline I didn't ask for and a smile I didn't remember giving. My inbox exploded. Investors, journalists, kids from my high school asking for advice. The school itself invited me to speak at their senior assembly. The same principal who once told me, "College isn't for everyone," handed me a coffee mug and shook my hand like I'd cured cancer. Then came the local Chamber of Commerce. Award dinner, keynote, little plaque with my name misspelled. I didn't care. I showed up, gave my speech, said thanks, posed for photos. Then he walked in, Roger Warren, my dad, uninvited, no warning, just strolled in wearing the same old tan blazer he'd worn to every wedding and funeral since the 90s. He acted like nothing had happened, nodded at people like he knew them, sat through the rest of the event without blinking, even clapped at the end. I kept one eye on him the whole time. After the speeches, I stepped off the podium, still holding the plaque, and boom, there he was, blocking my path like he had every right to be there. He leaned in, kept his voice low. "Maybe you should come consult for Warren Supply. We could use your insight." Just like that, no apology, no mention of the past. Just a casual offer like I'd been on vacation. I stared him dead in the eye. "You made it clear I'd be on my own. I kept the receipt." He didn't flinch, not even a twitch. Just gave me that same cold nod he used when he fired people. Then he turned around and walked out of the room. I didn't chase him. I didn't say another word. But the next week, a letter showed up at the office. Legal envelope, clean, sharp font. From his attorney. Inside was a formal invitation. Would I consider joining the Warren Supply Board as a strategic advisor? I read it twice. Then I slid it across the table to Tasha, who raised her eyebrows and said, "You thinking about it?" "Not sure yet," I said. But I was. Oh, I was. Because nothing said desperation like a man trying to fix a sinking ship with the same hands that threw you overboard. I didn't even hesitate. Declined the board seat through our legal team and attached my own proposal. Straight numbers, no fluff. Haul Track would service Warren Supply's entire logistics wing. Full integration, full license, market rate. No discounts, no favors, I told our rep. If he wants what I've built, he can pay like everyone else. Tasha smirked when she saw the final contract. Cold? I shrugged. Fair. A month later, they signed. Limited contract to start, 6-month trial, phased onboarding. But it was done. My software would now run the company I'd once been groomed to inherit, and then tossed from like a broken pallet. I scheduled a visit for the first implementation meeting, just me and 2 guys from support. Drove out there in my own truck. No entourage, no press. I wanted to walk in with the same boots I used to sweep the loading dock in. Walking through those front doors felt like stepping into an old uniform, one that didn't quite fit anymore. Nothing had changed. Same stained carpet, same cracked tile near the break room, same burnt coffee smell. But now the receptionist stood when I walked in. Evan met me in the lobby, hands in his pockets, eyes bouncing around like he was trying not to look directly at me. "Hey," he said. Yeah, thanks for coming out." I nodded once. "Where's Dad?" He winced. "He's not coming out. Said he's got calls." "Right," I smiled. "He doesn't have to. The system runs itself." He tried to laugh, but it landed flat. I didn't stick around long, just gave the support team the green light, checked the schedule, and made sure the onboarding docs were posted. On the way out, I took the long route past the dispatch wing. 3 guys in the break room were chatting over coffee. One in a faded Haul Track hat I hadn't even realized we printed. As I passed, one of them tapped the other's arm and nodded in my direction. "That's him. That's the founder. That's the guy who built it." They weren't loud, weren't trying to kiss up, just said it like a fact. I didn't stop, just gave a nod and kept walking. That was enough. A year later, Hall track went public. Valuation hit $480 million. Tasha cried. Art didn't say a word, just handed me a cigar and nodded. I stepped onto the trading floor in New York wearing the same watch I bought after that first state contract. I didn't call my father, didn't send him the article, didn't mail a share certificate or even a note. Instead, I launched the Hall Start Fund, $10 million set aside for vocational scholarships, blue-collar kids with big ideas and no one backing them. First recipient was a 19-year-old mechanic from Tulsa named Jamie Holcomb. He'd built a working parts scanner out of a busted tablet, a cracked iPhone, and 2 spare sensors from a scrapyard. It could ID used engine parts within seconds. His dad called it wasted time, said he should be sweeping bays, not playing with junk. I flew Jamie and his mom out for our IPO launch, put them up at the same hotel we used for the investor dinner. He showed up to the event in a second-hand suit and sneakers, palms sweaty, voice shaking. After we rang the bell, I stood on stage in front of the cameras and told his story. This kid taught himself hardware logic watching YouTube on library Wi-Fi, built a scanner in a garage smaller than my first office. Some kids just need one adult who doesn't laugh at their blueprint. Jamie cried when I handed him the check. His mom squeezed my arm so tight I couldn't move. That night, I sat alone on the balcony of my hotel room. High floor, quiet city, hum below. I had a drink in one hand and my phone buzzing every 10 seconds in the other. Investors, partners, reporters, college friends I hadn't heard from in years. Everyone wanted a piece of the win. Then, one more buzz. Unknown number, 5 words. I was wrong. Dad. That was it. No call, no follow-up. Just that. I stared at it for a minute. Then I locked the screen, set the phone on the table, and took a long sip of whiskey. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. For the first time in my life, I wasn't building something to prove anyone wrong. I wasn't chasing approval or revenge. I was building something because I believed in it, because I believed in me.